Our nation's bravest heroes sometimes needs help too. In today's episode of Rooted in Progress, we'll tell you about a new free veteran mental health platform.
And of course, we'll let you know how you and your loved ones can get support, especially during this holiday season. Rooted in Progress starts right now.
Come on in, guys. We are here in the WFLA studio with another episode of Rooted in Progress. However, what you see is me, but you don't see Deanne. There she is, guys.
I'm here.
Hey, Deanne.
Welcome, everybody, to Rooted in Progress. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes. Did you get
Thank you for joining us, listening to another episode. This is going to be an interesting one, especially because of this feedback. Bless us now for this episode.
Right. Deanne, did you eat too much? The reason why you couldn't come in the studio today?
I haven't eaten anything yet today, which is why literally my current state is what it is.
Well, regardless where you are, we are just glad to bring you and everyone else another wonderful episode of Rooted in Progress.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. We're talking about something really important, mental health.
Yeah.
This is something that does not discriminate. Everyone faces or has to deal with their mental health. Everyone has to take care of their mental health, but particularly and especially our veterans. So we have a panel. We have some heavy hitters today joining us on Rooted in Progress. I am happy I am not alone in the virtual space. Joining us from South Carolina, we have the CEO of Here Now Help, Brian Gray. Thank you so much for joining us, Brian.
Thank you for having me, and happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yes, we have Brian, but we also have, y'all know her, we've had her, we've loved on her already, a Rooted in Progress, none other than Natasha Pierre, a mental health coach, counselor, educator, you name it. She is an extraordinaire. Natasha, thank you for hanging with us.
Thank you for having me. It's good to see you all, and happy Thanksgiving.
Natasha, thank you for being here as company in the studio.
Yes.
So I'm not in here by myself.
It's the shade for me. It's the shade.
Yeah. We miss you, Dee.
Hey, let's jump right into everything on this episode. Brian, I do want to start with you because some folks might be like, well, what is Here Now Help? Who is this man from South Carolina joining Rooted in Progress? Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became the CEO of this organization and what you all do.
Well, thank you again for having me. I'm actually also the co-founder. So I've been here from the very beginning. I've been a serial entrepreneur, but I also have a background in counseling. And so when this startup occurred, I was introduced to a great young man, Billy Gerlach, who had this incredible idea. And we ultimately decided to become business partners. He actually had a unexpected early passing a few years ago, which we are continuing to work on in his legacy. And we are just passionate about helping people, saving lives, seeing lives transformed. And we primarily do that through a suite of applications, mobile-based as well as web-based on your computer. And our overarching focus is to be an all-in-one solution. We're like 30 platforms in one. So meditations, connecting you with counselors, peer support, doing your own, managing your own mental well-being in your pace and your time. And so very humbled to wake up every day and have our mission to improve lives just one life at a time.
Well, Brian, my thing is, why do you feel like this was an important thing to dedicate your life towards?
For myself, as a counselor for many years, fundamentally, you realize that every single person has their own mental well-being to manage.
Right.
And everybody has a different path that they take. And one of the biggest things I've learned, as you know, I also have a technology background. I've learned that technology has the ability to accelerate human connection. And if you can leverage technology to accelerate transformative care, we can transform the human condition. And for me, it's just something that to sit down face to face with people and see that impact, I've learned leveraging technology. I've had the ability to take that with my incredible team in our company to see that from one person to millions of people. And that is, again, the greatest humbling experience for me. That is why we started this company and what drives me every day.
That is beautiful. I can't wait to hear more about Here Now Help. I want Natasha to remind the folks about who she is. Natasha, you've been doing incredible work in the mental health advocacy space for several years as well. So tell the folks a little bit about you as well and some of the work that you're doing in our community.
Sure. I am a mental health educator and coach, and a lot of my work started from my own mental health journey. I speak very openly about having been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, generalized anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, and depression. And by becoming my own advocate, it led to me becoming an advocate for friends, for family members, for the community. And my work as a coach also includes working with a lot of our veterans here in the Tampa Bay area and around the nation. And there's such a unique population. So knowing that there's an app being launched that will be able to support them and their unique needs, I am really excited about it.
Yeah. Well, Brian, you mentioned how technology is a huge driving force in today's society. What made you want to develop this app?
So one of the real challenges that we found is, and we started the company going on 7 years ago, and this is pre-pandemic. So this was something that it really was almost a divinely inspired mission, just because we were in a situation before we knew the entire world was going virtual. We got to see glimpses of the power of telehealth and what that was able to do. However, a lot of the times telehealth was just a virtual meeting. We realized that people needed so much more. People needed to have inspiration. And while there are amazing companies like Calm that are doing great things, and BetterHelp and Talkspace and connecting you with clinicians, companies that, again, are really helping people, our mission was to see how can we create more of an all-in-one solution where I don't need 10, 15 applications, but I could have a single platform where I can connect with a clinician, I can do my meditations, I can meet peer specialists, I can join support groups, I can track my progress, I could do self-assessments, and so much more. And so we integrate with healthcare systems, schools, we do employee wellness, and we do a lot with the government, with the active military, as well as veterans. And so it really is about creating an all-in-one solution that is completely tailored to you as a unique individual. And the last little bit I'll add is we also leverage the power of AI, where it creates real-time risk scores so that as you use the platform, if you cross a certain threshold of risk, you'll actually get a pop-up to get help now. And the platform will connect you in real time, 24/7, 365, talk, text, or video with either a clinician, with emergency help, and other federal resources, 988, et cetera. So it's really about getting help when and where you need it.
That's amazing. And what both of you all have in common, and what I'm excited to dive more into when it comes to this topic and this discussion, is both of y'all's background with working with veterans. And I feel like, just even as a journalist in this space, I've told so many stories about veterans who don't have access to a certain amount of help, or veterans who are having difficulty even expressing that they might need help. What have you all seen that's made it difficult for veterans to even either want to reach out or get access to help?
It is, veterans are a unique population and they have a special place in my heart, as well as active duty, because my intensive outpatient treatment program were with active duty military as well as veterans. So I had an opportunity to hear their stories, hear a lot of their fears, and I am grateful, forever grateful, that they welcomed me into that space. But the reality is, a lot of what they've experienced, they cannot and won't share with civilians. And so they need to speak to people who understand it, people who get it, people who know their language, people who know what they've experienced, whether it's in combat, during wartime, or just going through basic training. Unless you have experienced what they have experienced, they're not going to be very comfortable speaking with you. And so peer support, being able to speak to another veteran, being able to hear from someone who has been through the same type of training and experiences that you have, are invaluable.
I bet. Brian, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I completely agree with that, Natasha. And what I would just add is, when it comes to both the military space and veteran space, you have two major barriers to care. One is first with the military. Many active service members are afraid that if I get mental health support, it could derail my career. If I'm a pilot and I get help, I could get grounded and I can't fly again until I get cleared. And so it can almost foster an environment of, well, let me just keep this to myself. I'll deal with it privately because maybe I won't get promoted. In the same way, as a veteran, oftentimes they're afraid getting help could affect their benefits. So if you're a veteran, if you have a certain classification of a disability, you can get coverage. Say, for example, if you're 70% disabled, you get 100% benefits. Well, imagine you say, hey, I want help, but now I'm afraid you declassify me or lower my disability percentage to say 50%, and I no longer get 100% coverage, which I rely on to maybe pay my rent, pay my bills. And so now my mental health can be tied to the financial stability of my well-being. And so one of the incredible things we've been fortunate to do together with our team in the Pentagon and the VA is our platform allows veterans and service members to utilize our platform with complete anonymity. So you could actually sign up for our platform, and for veterans that utilize it, you can use a username and they'll never know your real name. They'll never know who you are. And ultimately, you could have complete privacy with zero fear of it affecting your career or affecting your benefits as a veteran.
Wow.
Brian, you used the word barrier. And Natasha spoke as well on the fact of it's hard to really break down the barriers from our veterans because of the traumatic experiences they've been through or what they've been taught throughout their life. How do you feel like your app will break down that barrier? And then again, you have a lot of people who are just anti-technology or anti-AI. How is it that your app and your company are breaking down those barriers and saying, hey, this is something that you can trust? Also, maybe even to your point that you just stated as to this is complete privacy. So is there a gift and a curse to this app? And I don't mean that in a negative way, but just, for those who are kind of leery as to wanting to perhaps talk to an app to get help.
A great question. So I would say first, the anonymity piece is one of the first major barriers that we work together to remove. Even as Natasha was saying, with regard to peer support, we have chat rooms and message boards on the platform, and there are stories that people share that honestly, if they were not anonymous, they would probably never share in that
Wow,
context.
that's great.
And there are people who have gotten help for the desire to take their own lives, but they were vulnerable because they felt like they had that level of anonymity and they were still able to connect with a clinician and maintain that anonymity. And so, but you are right. There are always drawbacks because there are elements of in real-time intervention. There are times where you want to know where people are so that you can go and get to them. And there are always those opportunities or situations that you have to consider that do we remove this barrier and do we lose some of the identifiable information for real-time intervention? And it really is a balancing act. And so there's a lot of amazing people we work with, like Natasha and others who are hands-on with veterans and service members. And every day you have to learn and try to improve and get better. So I will say that in regard to those barriers, that is a major one. And one last one I'll just throw out there is several years ago, we met with the chief technology officer of the VA, and we had done a full analysis of the VA App Store. And there were about 36 applications on the App Store. And the number one complaint people had was, again, I don't want to download 20, 25 apps in order to get the help that I need. And so one of the things we've always been driven by is how can you create an all-in-one solution that removes the barrier of jumping from platform to platform, but everything is in one location and it speaks to each other. So you can get, whether it's self-care, peer care, or clinical care, you can get it all in one place.
Wow, that is huge. And while we're talking about barriers, and obviously because this is rooted in progress, let's talk about the racial barrier, right? It's already hard enough for Black folk to go get help to do anything. Sorry, we don't want to go to the doctor. Look, we barely want to go to school. We barely want to go get a job. And not to stereotype, and of course I'm joking and things like that, but it really is culturally, right? We have seen that culturally it is difficult for minorities to feel comfortable with getting help, particularly with mental health, and saying I'm not okay. Natasha, you know a lot about this, and I'm even looking at some of the stats that you sent us a little earlier. Many Black veterans were trained to believe that needing help signals weakness, which directly affects help seeking. What drives that, and how do we counter that, especially within Black and Brown communities?
Yeah, I think for especially Black veterans, there is a double barrier. First is the culture of mental toughness that is the military. Yeah. Part of you being able to get into the military, to be able to do your 6, 8, 12, 22, 33 years, is that you were deemed to be tougher and stronger than the vast majority of the population. And so to exit the military and then to admit that there is a challenge that you are experiencing mentally, for many of our veterans, it feels like admitting a weakness. It seems to erode everything that they were able to do in the military, and that's a challenge. When you add that they're Black, when you add that they are of African descent, and the expectation is for them to be stronger, is for them to be able to not need additional support, it becomes a barrier to them seeking treatment. And I'm on the va.gov website at least once every day. And I hear from veterans about how hard and challenging it is for them to navigate. So to be able to have something in their hand that would be easier for them to find resources, connect with other veterans, I think that is a win. When it comes to VA claims, back to, peer support. Being able to speak with another veteran and know that if you are experiencing any mental health challenge, if you're receiving care, that's not going to lower your score. That could actually help your case. And if you're only at 70% disability, You might go up to 100%, total and permanent. So being able to speak to another veteran, to share resources, to know that you're not the only one, I think that is a win for our veterans. And how we overcome it is communication. It's raising awareness. It's letting them know that, listen, yes, this is going to be anonymous. You are able to connect. You are able to get resources. And these are people who understand what you've been through.
You hit the nail on the head about the whole mental toughness in the military, but it starts in the Black community, or at least in the Black families. As a Black male, it was taught much younger. You know, you fall down on your bike, you get up, you better not let them see you cry. You know, shake it up, throw some dirt on it, and keep it moving. So it starts then. So if you got that instilled into your doctrine all throughout your teenage and younger, early 20s, and you go into the military, it's just buried and beat down into you even more. So to try to bring that out this later in life is a very, very difficult challenge. Would you say that, Brian?
Yeah, I would completely agree. As a counselor for many years, even when I would go into schools, there are a lot of personality assessments like Myers-Briggs. Well, there's one by Gary Smalley, and they use animals as a personality type. There's otter, golden retriever, beaver, lion, and there's like a mixture. So when you look at a group of young Black men that do the personality type, statistically, 91% of all young Black men will ultimately choose a lion as their personality type. And the fact that is, we know across the board the diversity of personality types, but because of the way we as African American men identify, 91% of us all have the same personality type as a lion, and it removes, we miss in our community the power of vulnerability of being a golden retriever, and the what is needed as a team and as a community to provide care, to bring joy and not just strength. And that is then reflected also in the military as well, by different roles that are chosen. And it is then finding that peer support to not just be a lion, but to also show nurture and care for your fellow brother and sister in arms.
Yeah, so that's a great answer. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, so don't go away.
Hello, folks. Welcome back, Terrence.
Obviously, you're not reading my cues here. So welcome back. We are here in the Rooted in Progress studio. Terrence Middlebrooks here with Deanne King, who is live virtually. This show is really about us just bashing each other. So, I need the mental support here, Brian and Natasha. We have Brian Gray here, zooming in all the way from South Carolina. Natasha Pierre, also a mental health coach. Guys, we're talking about there's a new mental health app that launches to support Florida veterans. Brian, even though our banner says Florida veterans, for those that are tuning in, is this available for those who are outside of Florida? And if not, when will it be?
So we actually have a unique partnership, what's called NASDVA, the National Association of State Directors for the VA. So the state directors, they manage at a state level all of the resources and care within every state and territory across the country. In working with those amazing directors, we have deployed our platform in many states to the point where we actually had a unanimous resolution passed where we were the platform of choice to be rolled out across every state and territory across the country. So we are actively rolling out state by state, territory by territory across the entire United States. So We just launched in a major way just 2 weeks ago in Georgia, in Kentucky, in
Okay.
Indiana, and right now we are launching in a massive way across the entire state of Florida. So it may already be available in your state. I would recommend, say, even going to the Facebook page or the website of your local, for Florida State, Florida Department of Veteran Affairs, or whichever state, and you should see if we are available. If not, feel free to email us, Here Now Help, info@herenowhelp.com, and we can connect you with either the states that we've already deployed, or we will be at a state near you very soon.
That's very exciting one to hear, because I think, and we touched on this a little bit earlier, but the fact that there needs to be something for everybody, right? And so me as a person who is actively in therapy, I remember when I was looking for a therapist, and all these therapists want to be virtual these days. I don't know what's going on. It's no shady, y'all. Older than therapists, they want to be virtual. I'm like, no. I need to see you. I need you to be able to touch me and pick me up if I need to get up off this floor. So I love that this is also another option for those folks. Like my sister, for example, she loves her virtual therapy sessions, and that it's something that can be, at someone's fingertips, right? And that help can be right there at their fingertips. Natasha, explain, though, some of the resources available and just in our community also, veteran, non-veteran, military, non-military, for folks who are looking to get some mental health.
I love that you mentioned, virtual versus in person, because some people have their preferences. They want to be able to reach out and touch. Some want to be in the comfort of their home, and that's fine. The peer support that Brian mentioned is invaluable, and I wish that people would take more advantage of it. Whether you are a family member, a veteran, a mother, understand that, representation matters. And so whether, no one wants to hear me talk about childbirth because I don't have any children. Who wants to listen to me? No one wants to hear me talk about the veteran experience. I'm not a veteran. And so I speak from my vantage point. And I think when it comes to mental health, we need, everyone has a seat at the table, but we have to make room for cultural humility and for cultural representation. And in our community, that means ensuring that there is, I call it a toolbox. One day you may need a coach. You may need a therapist. You may need meditation. You may want to journal. You may want peer support. You may want to play with a puppy. You may want to, sing songs or listen to sound bowls. Whatever it is, there's multiple pathways to care. And being able to have all of those resources available in one place, Brian, is great news. The role of advocates like myself is to ensure that these resources are widely publicized, are made known. Every veteran does not want to go to the VA. They'll go for their ankle, their knee, their neck. They'll go for a pinky finger, but they will never, ever mention, well, you know what? I'm remembering what happened in combat 10 years ago. Yeah, and so how do we make it and create the emotional safety for them to be able to share that? And it starts with one-to-one, the peer support, knowing that the app is anonymous, and it's advocates like myself who have to bring that message to them.
I'm going to switch gears. This app sounds phenomenal. Is there a possibility, Brian, that you guys can ever turn this turn it into an app for everyone? Because it sounds great. It sounds like something that I would invest in. However, a complete one-stop shop. I know most therapists will say virtual, yes, you could do this, you could do this, but everything this app has to offer. So those who are listening out there that want to ask that question, is it possible that this could be turned into an app for everyone?
Yes, that is part of on our roadmap as a company. Currently, our platform is largely utilized within organizations. National healthcare systems utilize it, employee wellness, student wellness. And so currently, we allow those partners to deploy our platform to their target population to provide care. And so with that said, we do have a national network. Well, let me rephrase that, a global network of 83,000 clinicians that you can connect with on demand. And part of that network has been built for that direct to consumer access. So I would say stay tuned, more to come soon.
You better come to Rooted in Progress when it happens. I know that, Brian. You better let us know.
I will.
Good. We are excited about that, especially just because I think when you do hear something that can cater and be a one-stop shop and kind of be able to help more than just a veteran. And I think I overheard earlier, are you a veteran, Brian?
I am not. Well,
okay.
No, I am not.
Okay. What did I hear then?
Well, I'm an honorary colonel in the Air Force.
That's what I heard.
But I'm actually one of 9 kids, and so many of my siblings, aunts, and uncles are all veterans. My dad was a veteran. He passed away last year. He was 91, but he served in the Korean War he enlisted in 1951, and he was, one of the few African American men. He served on the Ticonderoga. He was in the Navy, and so I've had other brothers who are in the Army. So I'm passionate about veterans because my entire family are veterans, and so I grew up as an athlete. Ended up being more of a nerd in college, and so try to use that to support my family in the best way that I know how.
Good.
Come on, from athlete to nerd in college. Look, take it.
Natasha, you mentioned about burnouts and that people are falling apart publicly. And there's a deep fatigue privately. I like that statement. You also said that many Black clients describe exhaustion as their baseline, and that you've heard FMLA mentioned more times now than before 2020. Why is that? And when you think about 2020, you of course throw COVID in there. But why do you feel that those numbers are pretty high?
Specifically for the Black population, I don't think we've had a break. I think we went from COVID into George Floyd, into contentious election, into insurrection, into contentious election, into shutdown, into insert whatever crisis we've had here. And we really haven't had a break to breathe and to rest and to process everything that's happened. So what I'm seeing with my clients is compounded fatigue, compounded exhaustion, that they're still tired and exhausted and grieving from things 5 and 6 years ago. And so now you add a shutdown, and this is why I love, the idea of using technology and apps. We're presupposing that everyone has insurance and that everyone has a job. And there's got to be multiple entry levels to care and to treatment. If we're only expecting people to be able to connect with a therapist or coach through their insurance, we're missing a large portion of the population. We're already using AI. We already have our phones in our hand. So how can we get care and treatment and connect people to resources right where their eyes are, which is on their phone and in their hand? So yeah, the burnout that I'm seeing, the fatigue, the exhaustion, people are going into this holiday season hoping for some semblance, some flicker of joy that life is going to get better. And if it's not going to happen today around the turkey, then they're hoping that maybe they'll find a connection, whether online, in the community, that can really give them some hope and joy that they need to enter the new year.
Right. Well, you speak on just everything. We haven't had a break. Well, throughout history, people can argue that we've never had a break. There's been pandemics before. There's been wars before. There's been elections before, good and bad. Where do you see that just this overload of information coming from? Well, we know where it comes from, social media, right? And when you want to talk about break, you talk about a break from get up out in front of the TV. Kids aren't playing outside anymore. They're in front of the game system. Folks are sitting back. We get an overload of news information, given the fact that Deanne and I are both work for a news organization, but we're constantly have information on our phones. Our phones are always attached to us. So there's that. Well, then, Brian, that leads me back to the app. Do you feel like people are too connected? And if so, how do you think that may hurt your company or your organization with this app? So, Natasha, maybe you can chime in on the social media aspect of it. And then, Brian, maybe the connectivity aspect of it.
Well, I think, what is, for lack of a better phrasing, getting everyone to a fever pitch is that it doesn't feel like we can escape. Okay, so if I turn off the television and I go to social media, well, the news is on social media. If I go out into the community, the climate, the national climate, and that's what I keep hearing over and over. The national climate is such that whereas I could have went home and avoided, frustration, avoided any racial tension, it's meeting me at, my coffee shop. It's meeting me at the grocery store. And so people feel like they can't escape. It's coming with me to work. It's the unspoken elephant in the room. And so people are wanting a place where they can, again, get some hope, where they can get some resources to deal with what isn't going away. And, to your point, we're already on our phones, we're on our iPads. I don't think that's going away. I think that's going to remain. And so where else can we go? If we're not on social media, is there another place where we can go to receive the tips, the resources, the strategies to be able to deal with the weight of what we're experiencing?
Brian?
Well, first I was going to say you could also go to the Virgin Islands like St. Thomas and,
exactly.
R&R. Sign me up. No, the reality is, and it's a great question in regard to, can people be over-connected and the need and the healthy benefit to disconnect, how it would affect us. And the reality is you have to be mission driven, where in the end of the day, you care more about people than money. And ultimately turn off your phone, find peace, find quiet, get time alone. I have 3 kids. I have a 19-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 14-year-old. So my wife and I, we deal with it all the time. And some of the greatest moments we have as a family are when everyone disconnects. And it's such a needed, healthy thing. And social media has literally rewired our brains, and that's a whole separate conversation. But yes, staying connected, there's an amazing benefit in technology. But the reality is, life is not lived on the internet. It's lived in flesh and blood, face to face. And I will always be a proponent to put your phones down, turn the TVs off, and live in the real world.
Yeah, that's huge. And I practice that. I don't have any kids yet, but I do have nieces that are like my kids. I'm like a crazy TT mom. And even when they're here, it's just like, we don't turn the TV on. We're outside. We're doing the things that we all used to do, growing up. So it's definitely great to make sure we take breaks. So speaking of breaks, we're going to take one. We'll be right back.
Be right back. Hey guys, we are here at WFLA studio with the show Rooted in Progress. And I am here by myself in studio.
All right, friend. I ain't
with
gonna
Natasha.
never leave you again, because who's out?
DA King and myself are here with Rooted in Progress, another episode on this Thanksgiving Day. I hope everyone's having a wonderful Thanksgiving Day. And
yes. Having a very important conversation, as fun as we're having as well, but talking about the importance of mental health. And we're also talking about a new mental health app that has launched in our state, several services with this. And we have Brian Gray joining us from South Carolina, talking about this app. And Brian, did we go over fees? Is this $3.99 for the people?
So it is free 99. We have worked very, very hard to work with the Department of Defense, the VA, and amongst others to make sure that this is covered and free for our veterans and service members. And I spend way too much time in the Pentagon and on Capitol Hill. But I can say I've been very fortunate to see a lot of bipartisan work in support of this initiative. And so I could just say there's more to come in regard to what we're doing and what this is going to look like across the entire country.
I'm definitely excited to see it. Natasha Pierre also joining us. We're so happy to have her actually in the Rooted in Progress Stream Center, a mental health coach and educator. Natasha, if you could go over some of the free resources, that is, if I could talk, for veterans, even non-veterans, for folks who are looking to seek some mental health care.
Yes, there are, I'd say, a gazillion of services that are available. And unfortunately, many people aren't searching, looking for them and aware of them. And part of that is just the mental fatigue. You know, they're already tired. And so now there's another step to have to look. But there are organizations here in the Tampa Bay area. Tampa Bay Thrives is one organization. Aaron's House supports the caregivers, those who love those living with mental health challenges. Veterans Counseling Veterans is one of my favorites. NAMI Pinellas is another great organization. There are many, and you can always connect with me. I'll find, whatever you need. I'm connected to many, clinicians here in the Tampa Bay area. But the VA, and this is where advocates come in. For the older generation, navigating that website, working with the apps might be challenging. And this is where you get to reach out for support. The local VA has peer support specialists. Their job, their role is to help you with what you need. Please reach out. Please ask. Vulnerability and asking for help in that area does not equate to weakness. We want you to let us know what you need so that we can support you.
Hey, Brian, we talked about your app being free. Is it also Apple and Android user-friendly?
Yes, both.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Great.
Who has an Android? I'm just playing.
Well, you know what, man? I get a lot of these green bubbles in these group chats that I'm in. And my next question to whoever's in this group chat, why do you have, who has the Android? Please remove yourself from this app. So, but no, it is Android and iPhone, Apple product friendly, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for folks to start using this. I'm so happy that we were even able to get the word out. So all they have to do is search Here Now Help. Is that correct, Brian?
Correct.
Wonderful.
And for all of our veterans, the Florida Department of Veteran Affairs is doing a massive launch. You probably have received an email this week that it's free to download. There's a QR code, there's a download link, and a unique access code. You could also use ID.me to verify your status as a veteran or service member, and you are good to go. It's 100% free, and you could also go to the Florida Department of Veteran Services or Facebook page. There's instructions there. So there's a lot that they're continuing to do, and currently James Hammer Hartzell, the director for Florida, is really taking the lead and driving it forward. And we're doing great things together and excited to serve the people of Florida.
Yes.
We are so happy that y'all are launching here in Florida. So thank you for thinking of us, because Florida, we don't always get the best rap. So we're happy to be in the conversation. Brian, thank you so much for all that you are doing. I am happy to know you now, even virtually, and to know that there is someone advocating for such a vulnerable population and who looks like us. So congratulations on all of the phenomenal work that you have been doing.
Thank you.
Yep. And absolutely. Brian, we can't wait to have you back so you can give us an update of how this app has just taken off. And now
And
it'll be
expanding.
available. Yeah, it will be available globally. Natasha, tell the folks where they can get in touch with you, where they can follow you. I'm very active. I'm following you. You're very active on Instagram. So please tell the people how they can stay in touch with you.
Absolutely. My website is natashapierre.com, first and last name. And then on social media, everywhere, it's Natasha Pierre Official. My DMs are always open for support, mental health support. That's what my DMs are open for. And I will do whatever I can to support you in that way.
Man, shout out to Natasha. I've met
What are your DMs closed for?
All the extras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met Natasha a while back, and we do have a mutual connection. Her partner is my son's trainer, basketball trainer, and even if you ever go to one of these training sessions, she's not only helping the adults, she's also talking to these kids about the importance of taking care of their mental health. So hats off to you, Natasha. Thank you all for joining us on Rooted in Progress. And man, we look forward to great things in the future for the both of you guys.
Thank you. And by the way, that was a really smooth way to say don't slide into her DM. She's already taken.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hey, I'll take it. I'm not. Slide in my DM. I'm
You guys-
just playing. Natasha, Brian, thank y'all so much for hanging with us
Thank
on
you.
Rooted in Progress.
Yeah,
Terrence,
yeah.
I promise, friend. I don't promise. Today was a very long day, so I don't know. This might happen again, but we did great. We
Hey
did our
man,
best.
listen, it's the important thing is that you're here. You're
Yes!
here.
Mhm.
We are here on another episode. Everything is good. You're smiling,
Yes.
and there's a lot to be thankful for.
Absolutely. So much to be thankful for. That includes being thankful for Rooted in Progress. So just for
Absolutely.
this Thanksgiving, go ahead and make sure y'all follow, like, subscribe on
All the
YouTube,
above.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, and Facebook. We are live every Thursday at 9:30 in the morning. Thank y'all so much for hanging with us. Happy Thanksgiving and stay rooted.
Stay rooted, folks.